Good morning. I would like to greet all participants in this European Day on Deafness, Language, Culture and Education, whether in Cordoba or in Konya. As it was already mentioned to you before, this European Day is being promoted in the context of a European project called SMILE, standing for Sign, Meaning and Identification, Deaf Learners in Europe. Our Portuguese presentation is based on the chapter that Vitor Tete Gonçalves and myself have written to the book Deafness, Language and Culture in Education towards Quality Standards for Student Research in Europe, that you will be able to download from the project website and where you can also learn a little more about the project itself. So thank you for your attention. Nowadays, words like deaf culture or deaf world are frequently used by those that work, study or live with and within the deaf community, but also in the deaf studies literature and within national and international organizations. Hearing people, however, have many difficulties admitting that the deaf have a specific culture and continue to treat them as a group, mainly characterized by their hearing impairment. These representations generally promote common perspectives in which deaf are described negatively, being less normal. Deafness, in our view, cannot be restricted to a sensory impairment. It is far more complex, as it also includes the role sign language can play in the construction of a deaf person's identity. The acquisition of a language, in this case sign language, is of extreme importance to the development of a deaf identity. However, a common language is not enough. As social beings, deaf need cultural identification models as well, which are offered by the deaf cultural community. Deaf education in this context needs to take these insights seriously. In these presentations, we will describe the process towards inclusion and bilingual education of the deaf we have been following in Portugal. The history of the deaf education in Portugal began when the Swedish professor Per Aronborg was invited to be director of the first school for the deaf in Lisbon in 1823. At that time, Borg was already famous for founding the Stockholm Institute for the Deaf, where he proposed the teaching of writing together with the sign alphabet. He was therefore the first person in Portugal to suggest the simultaneous teaching of both skills. This method was used until 1860, when that school was closed. In 1880, after the Congress of Milan, the use of sign languages in schools was forbidden as a result of the primacy of oralism in the education of the deaf. From then on, the oral method had to be used. In 1893, the School for the Deaf-Mute of Porto was established, replacing the mimics method by the oralistic. In 1913, the director of Casa Pia, called Aurélio da Costa Ferreira, organized a 2-year training program for teachers of the hearing impaired. That marked the official and institutional recognition of the oral method in Portugal that was thoroughly implemented and studied until mid-70s. In 1974, another pedagogical renewal in the field of deafness was introduced, with the implementation of maternal reflexive methods. On invitation of the Ministry of Education, specialists from the Netherlands provided an intensive training for the teachers in deaf education, becoming officially the most used method in Portugal. This training, together with the cooperation agreement between Portugal and Sweden, the development of technological resources, and the appearance of research about school integration of the deaf students, either through support rooms, special classes in regular schools, and itinerant support, altogether have led to the creation of the support services for children with auditory impairments. These developments in the just started debate about the value of sign language was a stimulus for some schools to adopt the total communication method. This first experience of bilingual teaching with deaf monitors started in a small village near Lisbon. The year 1981 can be marked as the beginning of the professional teaching of sign language, as two deaf adults were sent to the Gallaudet University in the USA. After returning to Portugal, these two deaf began to teach Portuguese Sign Language teachers, technicians, and future interpreters of sign language, as well as to their deaf peers.